Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton and Adam here, as we are every Tuesday. As close to every Tuesday as we possibly can be. What are you laughing at today?
Two things I wish we'd have opened with happened 5 seconds before we were on the air. One, you want to go to Vegas on a road trip. And two, just a huge shit just before the show came on, which I can only assume is from your dogs.
Yeah, of course. Here's the other thing. I never said I want to go to Vegas on a road trip. I said I want to go to Vegas on a road trip to watch BattleBots. Not to gamble, to watch robots fighting.
Buddy, BattleBots isn't the only thing you'll get to watch in Vegas.
So I've been told.
Insane.
I can imagine. You survived your trip last week, did you?
Yeah, it was a good time. We were just sharing a little bit of a keynote speaker, a motivational speaker who was, man, how cool would that be? I would. My trouble is I can speak, I just don't have anything worth saying. You know what I mean?
I can speak, but I don't have any motivation to give. But let's look at a couple things. This is good. I mean, we're all family here. Let's talk about it. So, let's talk about, what we were discussing off there. And you were saying there's emotional, a quote. You want to give the quote, and then we'll explain why that pertains to us?
Yeah, I'll read. And again, in context, these were a lot better. But the one was, we may know how good we are, but we have no idea how great we can be. Inspirational. But the one that I said to you, fear nothing but to waste the present moment. And it's, you get a room of people who you hope were already motivated, Clinton, so people who you hope are looking forward. But it's very profound to say, as far forward as you look and as well as you plan, don't forget to enjoy the moment that you're in.
Yeah, and I think for me, that was the big thing last summer, right? Like, I remember you came in about mid-August, and man, you waited 3 years to get this Pinty's race. Why are you wishing it to be Monday morning and for it to be gone already? And I think it was the stress or whatever, but no, that was my mission this year, to enjoy things a bit better, right, than we ever have in the past. So we do have a good show coming up. DJ Kennington's going to join us. Brandon McFarlane's going to join us. We got an interview with him at courtesy of Joel from Fuel Media today and the NASCAR Pinty's TSN team. Steve Lyons is also going to join us. And Case Kallenbach, what can you tell us about him?
Case Kallenbach is special to me, Clinton. He was a student in our Race 101 program, so I've known him for about a dozen years. But his story to me is inspiring, because here is someone who came from very, very little. And he wanted to make it in racing. So he came to us like everyone in Race 101 came to us, as aspiring young race car drivers. But when he left, he started working on pit crews. And he is now a crew chief in the Xfinity series. And we'll talk to him a little bit. And I mean, just to hear his accent and his energy for life is going to be a lot of fun. He's coaching his daughter's baseball team right now, but he'll be on later in the hour to join us.
Right on. We have a lot of topics to discuss too, and we'll talk to one of the veterans of the sport and the Iron Man of NASCAR here in Canada. In fact, his email's still CASCAR, so we're going back a few years. Whenever he's ready, throw him up here, Spencer. I see DJ Kennington getting set up to join us here, so we'll talk to him in a few minutes. We do have some videos to discuss this weekend. Our annual reason why to stay away from the fence. We're going to analyze the big crash between Ryan Preece and Kyle Larson from Talladega on the weekend, and a few other cool topics we're going to try and get into here today as well. So if he's ready, bring him on, Spencer. DJ, welcome to the program. Thanks for making some time for us tonight. He's muted.
Either he's muted or we're muted. We'll have to get his volume turned up.
I might even away. Now, Case is with a K, right? Just for those in the chat. Yeah, Joel says DJ's 30th year. There was some testing going on Sunset today, so we will work it out and get that video on as well. And
I can promise you, he has called his wife. DJ has called out for Jay to come. Yeah, he's pointing so he can hear us. We just can't hear him. So we'll get there. But I did remind him, so to butter him up a little bit, Clinton, on the phone when I texted and called him to come on. Okay, now we just heard. I think
Hello?
that's Jay. We heard. Hey, how are you?
You got me.
We got you. Thanks.
All right, good.
Thanks so much for making time for us, DJ.
Yeah, my pleasure. Sorry about that. If it's not a carburetor or tires, I'm not that good at it.
It's all good, everyone's got to be good at something and stay in our lanes, and we're good. But I was just about to explain how I buttered you up a little bit to come on, because I said I've kind of chosen you as one of the drivers I expect big things out of this year, and you've always busted my chops a little bit about not being as kind to DJ Kennington as I should. So I'm glad you've made the time to join us. And now you tell us why you're one to watch this year.
We've just been working hard. I mean, it's the same old thing you hear all the time, trying to make the cars a little faster, trying to, shave a little weight here, trying to move some stuff around here. It's just a constant battle in racing to try to get one up on somebody. And I mean, as soon as you do, the funny part is they do too. So it's really hard to get ahead. But we've been working hard in the shop. We got a new chassis that's not quite done yet. Hopefully it'll be done for maybe race 3 or 4. But we got all of our oval program back together, and just actually literally working on the road course car here tonight, trying to get it ready for CTMP. And it's just a whole lot. I mean, got the same group of guys, and I've said that 1,000 times, that the whole key to this whole thing is good people. And I feel like I've surrounded myself with such a good group of guys now that it's makes it really enjoyable for me. It takes a lot of weight off my shoulders at the track. Rick Verburn and his brothers, and I mean, Doug Thorne and Scotty Sands and Bubba and Doug Dave, all the guys that have been with me for so long. I'm finally starting to trust them to do some things that I would always want to do myself. And it's really helped me with the driving aspect, because I can concentrate more on that and get back to doing what I got to be doing at the racetrack.
DJ, I wasn't going to bring this up right away, but since you mentioned weight twice in your last statement there, we talk about moving weight around. A lot of your weight was made prior to the season. You lost a lot of weight, got in good shape. You're still looking good today. You've kept it off, a year later. How's that been changing? And when you look back on the season, how did that change your lifestyle, I guess, in general, and your program?
It changed a lot. I mean, I was almost 50 pounds we knocked off last year, and I'm up about 6 from where I was at the end of last year. But summer's coming, so I'm sure that'll be gone here shortly. But man, I thought after the winter it would be going up a lot more. But I played a lot of hockey in the winter, and a lot of hockey with my kid too, with Chase, and it keeps me active. So I just find that I have more energy. I have more get up and go. And obviously, I mean, it's no joke. I mean, I'm 45 years old now, and obviously not 20 anymore. So I had to do everything I could do to try to keep up with all these young guys. And I mean, being fit and being mentally strong and then just being ready to go is a big part of this game. And I worked hard at it last year and maintained it over the winter. And we're ready to rock and roll again here in a couple weeks.
DJ, tell me if I'm wrong, but there was a time, there were 2 ways to win a championship in CASCAR, or the NASCAR Pinty Series. One was to be consistent everywhere. The other was to be stellar, either on a road course or on ovals, and sort of survive the other. I mean, if you were an oval ace, survive the road courses, and you might work your way to a title, or vice versa. But I don't think that's the case anymore. You've got to be good. You've got to be on the prowl at every race, trying to knock down wins. Is consistency good enough anymore, DJ, or do you have to be standout everywhere?
I mean, consistency is a big part of it. I mean, you've got to finish these races. That's a big thing. But you're right. I mean, you've got to win races if you're going to win a championship. And I remember, I think it was 2012 when we won 7 races. I mean, that was a dominant season, and that is very hard to do anymore. There's so many good race teams, so many good drivers. It's tough. It's a tough series. It's hard to get that win. So you've got to work at trying to win races, but you got to be smart too. So it's a combination. I mean, I don't think you can win a championship without winning a race. It can happen, I guess, but I think your chances are a heck of a lot better if you're up front, leading laps, trying to get bonus points, and putting yourself in a situation to win. Because if you can get the wins, I mean, the points obviously take care of themselves. But it's tough to do, man. There is some tough competition out there, and I'm ready for it this year. I mean, every year you get hungry, you want it more and more, and I mean, I'm not ready to lay down yet, so it's time to go and see if we can't kick some butt.
DJ, Joel mentioned in our chat here that's been 30 years. You're coming into it now. So let's talk about, you must have had some years. Don't you feel like every spring, like you're making the right things and you're just going to come out and crush them? And then some years it just doesn't go that way, right? What's the one thing that you look back on last year that you and the team looked at and said, this is the one aspect we've got to get better to be better in general?
Well, we worked on overall speed with our cars, trying to, get more adjustability in them so that we can run faster longer. A lot of times in the last couple of years, we've been fast, but the thing wouldn't last. So we kind of just went at it a little bit differently. Personally, I went at myself just to try to be sharper, to be lighter, to be, just more physically fit. I mean, I think when you're physically fit, your mental game's stronger, your mental game's quicker. I really wasn't even able to play hockey anymore because my knees hurt so bad. I'm a goalie, and I was just too heavy. And this year, man, I was playing 3-4 nights a week and loving every minute of it. And I just think that was a huge aspect that we worked on. I mean, I worked on personally, but chemistry with my race team. My guys are phenomenal. They're not just my crew guys. They're like my best friends. And I mean, we went to Mexico together as a crew trip to celebrate our season and to just thank them for all the hard work and everything that they do. And I mean, this sport's tough, and 98% of them are volunteers, and you've got to treat the people like you want to be treated. And I just feel like that's been our biggest thing is our crew has come together, that everybody knows their role, and everybody has a key role in what we do. And there's no animosity, there's no drama, there's no nothing with us. It's all about business. And man, I enjoy going to the racetrack. It's a lot of fun.
I want to go back to the on-track driving, DJ, and talk about driving styles. And you've always been known for being very consistent. You've also been known for keeping the fenders on your race car. More and more drivers are coming into the series and winning races very aggressively. I mean, it is tough anymore. Drivers are more than willing to use the bumpers. When do you decide to roll up your sleeves and do what needs to be done? Because we don't see it very often, but how hard is it to resist that temptation?
Oh, it is for sure. And everybody keeps saying that. I mean, I don't know if it's just that. I think I've just been extremely lucky with keeping the fenders on it. I mean, there's been a lot of situations I've been in where I could have been wrecked. And like I say, give me 1 second. I'm going to shut that thing off. Or is it too loud or is it not bad?
You're fine.
No, I
don't think we're hearing it. Go ahead, DJ. No, go.
No, you're good.
Or we can shut it off.
Yep. Oh, look at that shop though, Clinton. White ceiling in there.
Like I say, there's the air compressor. I'm still out in the shop working. Sorry, guys, but yeah. I mean, where were we at there?
We were talking about getting down and dirty on the racetrack.
Yeah. I mean, you know me. I mean, I'll do it when we have to. I mean, there's a perfect example of when we got at it with, I don't even know if we really even got at it with Trayton there at Delaware the one time. I got a little nudge in there and won the race. And man, it caused a big stir up. And I was like, man, I've seen this a lot worse than that. But I don't know if it's just because it was me or what the deal was. But I mean, you got to be aggressive. I mean, you look at these guys like Kevin Lacroix is a perfect example. The guy is a phenomenal race car driver, and he's aggressive. So, I mean, you've got to take your chances when you can. And, I mean, I'm not going to be afraid to get in there and get it done this year. We've worked hard over the winter. I've got 3 oval cars ready for me and 3 road course cars ready. So, I mean, worst comes to worst, we got more bullets in the chamber sitting in the trailer. So it definitely will, make me want to be a little bit more aggressive, knowing that we have everything ready to go.
I guess my question for that, DJ, is like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? And one thing I told my brother when he was coming up as a young racer, you're either going to be somebody who dishes it out and takes it, or you're somebody who's not going to touch anybody and bitch every time someone touches you. So at what point is it, that's how the game is now. So if someone moves you, at what point does it become not acceptable anymore? Is it you've hit me 3 times, or was it a move for the pass and you didn't wreck me, so I get it now? Or do they all still piss you off? Like, obviously it's situational, but as you get older, you're probably trying to be a lot more calmer than you were when you were 25.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It does get to you, and it's. I mean, you get hot under the collar, and you've got to try to control that. And I mean, it's hard. I mean, I usually vent by yelling on the radio at my crew and everybody else because they think it's pretty funny. I mean, I'll call people bad names and say I'm going to destroy them and so on, but yet I never do. But it sure makes you feel better, right? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you get moved, and it's for for the lead, and it's not an aggressive thing where I wrecked and took out 3 cars or spun out, or I'm up half a lane and he got his nose in there. I mean, that's racing. That's just the way it is. But if it gets to the point where somebody just drives straight in the back of you going in the corner and moves you out of the way 4 lanes so that they can win the race, well then yeah, you're going to be a little pissed off. But I mean, it's all circumstantial. None of it makes you happy. I mean, heck, we all want to be leading. We all want to be up front. We don't want to get passed. But when it comes time, I mean, a win's a win, and it's time to go for it. So you really can't. I've tried not to be that guy, but it's happened many times. I mean, I've been at it with a lot of guys, and it makes for a great show for the race fans. And what the heck are we there for, right? We're there to put on a show for the fans.
You make a good point. I want to change direction here, DJ. At what point do you have this conversation with Chase? Have we had those talks yet? Chase is out there on the track. Is there a lot of coaching goes on, or are you just a cheerleader at this point? When does Chase have to learn these valuable life lessons?
I'm telling you, my kid's a hockey nut. All right, he plays a lot of hockey. He loves the racing, but he's definitely a hockey guy, and he gets hot under the collar. I don't know. It's got to be from his mother. I mean, I'm such a calm, cool, and collected guy. You know that. So I don't know why he gets so uptight, but he does get a little bit chippy in hockey, and I've seen it in racing. Now he comes off and he calls people bad names, and I make sure I tell him that don't let your mother hear you talk like that. But we'll talk about it in the trailer. It's tough. I mean, I'm more nervous watching him run his little sprint car than I am racing myself, obviously. And he's doing a great job. And I try not to overcoach him too much because he's got to learn on his own. And my dad never really overcoached me. He always told me if I complained about the cart, he'd say, if you can't drive it, we'll go home. So I try to have that same mentality with him, but it's hard, man. I get in there and I'm tinkering and changing stuff and so on. And I probably get him dialed right out, but he's a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoy it, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, Clinton, but I kind of enjoy the dirt racing. I thought it was for growing potatoes, but heck, it's pretty fun.
The scene here in Ontario for the micro sprints has really taken off. I mean, they do a fantastic job at Little Middleton. Our crew is real healthy on Thursdays at Ashweek, and it's going to bring up a great bunch of drivers. I mean, even looking at our sprint cars, the ladder systems there, they've gone to crates. Most of our 360 guys come up through that ranks. But since you brought it up, how did you feel on the Dirt Rush weekend? Are you happy or not happy that there's 2 points events there this year?
Guys, I'm telling you, that whole show. I mean, I'm a straight shooter, and I'd tell you if I thought it sucked, but the whole show was phenomenal. I mean, the facility, Glenn Stiers, yourself, Clinton. I mean, the whole thing went off way better than I expected. I'll tell you that much right now. Seeing the crowd as big as it was, actually hearing the crowd was crazy. It was a really cool event. Very much looking forward to it again. I mean, I don't know if we got lucky or what, but we ran pretty decent. It was a lot different than I expected, but I think it's cool that we're having 2 events there. I mean, the payouts are unbelievable, which is like unheard of for us right now, and that makes a big difference for race teams, man. And we appreciate it. And what a facility! I mean, I want to bring Chase out there and race some Thursdays too, just to support the big man as well. Mr. Stiers has got to know him a little bit better now, and what a true gentleman and what a great racer. And he is a racer, and that's the coolest part to me. The guy just wants to race, and I admire what he's done at that place and what he's come from to what he's got now. And it's nothing but hard work, and it's good on him. So I'm excited to be back at Ashwegan, like 100%.
I know I can.
I just want to say one thing, Adam. Like, you know how stressed out I was, Adam, right? We talked about the show. I couldn't wait for everything to be over, right? And that's one thing I remember, DJ. It kind of touching to me that you walked all the way down pit road. There was nobody around. You came over, shook my hand, said, "Hey, man, amazing job." And that's one thing that took me by heart. I was like, "Wow, man, he walked all the way down here to just pat me on the back." And I mean, it was nice to be noticed. So I appreciate that, and that showed a lot of class on your to take the time to let us know you appreciate it too. But go for it, Adam. What do you got for us? And then I want to talk a bit about the longevity with Castro before we let him go.
I just wanted to talk and say I know I speak for Clinton and myself, DJ. We get so excited because we do both. I've always loved asphalt racing and I've loved dirt racing, and it's 2 very distinct groups of people. So you go to the dirt track and you enjoy being around them. You go to the paved track, I enjoy being around them. It's so exciting to see them come together, and it goes both ways. We've brought some dirt racing fans down to Delaware Speedway for their big show in September. And it's just beautiful to see them come together. And as you say, you've got Chase racing, and he's racing on dirt. His future might be on blacktop, but it's starting on the dirt, and it's exciting to see where the sport is right now. In your 100%. Mind, DJ, do you see a future for Chase in racing, or do you think he's going to stay on the ice? And what are your hopes for?
That's totally up to him. And Sydney. I mean, my daughter's starting this year. She's got a sprint car too now. I think that's going to be the one that's going to scare the living bejesus out of me. She's insane. She's a little firecracker. I love being a girl dad. She keeps me on my toes. I'll tell you that much right now. She's into cheerleading, and it's just crazy seeing her grow. She's 7 now. But Chase, he started out not really interested in. I mean, I had the kart here since he was 5, and he finally, when he was 8, he said, "When am I going to get to race that?" Basically, ran to it and said, "Like, we can start now." But he's a huge hockey nut. He's like me. I mean, I love the game of hockey, always have. But I can see him doing something in racing, whether he wants to. It's totally up to him. Whether he doesn't want to race at all anymore, it won't bother me. He's his own person, and I'd love to see him go racing because I'd love to be there to help him. But heck, if he goes and plays hockey, I love coaching him there too. So it's just cool seeing him grow. It's cool seeing him get fired up. It's cool seeing that he does have a little bit of talent. I mean, I'm not going to lie. He does very well at it, and he doesn't even realize it. But he's got a little bit of natural talent behind the wheel for sure.
A day would come years ago where everybody said, "Keep him in hockey. Racing's way more expensive." But have you seen the price of a hockey stick these days, Adam? It's like $370 for the Pee-wee sticks. It's crazy. DJ, before we let you go, because we don't want to monopolize all your time, and you got road courses to build, because as I like to say, the season's coming out. It's like a freight train. Let's talk about your long-time association with Castrol. It's one thing to have, a deal for a few years, but to have the length you've had at the level they still continue to support you all the way through the States and everything is pretty awesome.
Unbelievable. I mean, they've made my whole career. Winning races, doing the things we've done would not even be possible without them. So I can't believe it. 30 years this year. There's going to be a cool emblem on the hood, kind of recognizing the 30 years of our partnership. And they're like family to me. Dave and Robbie Fifield are phenomenal people. They've done and so many people that have worked there that I've become friends with. And when we did the Daytona deal, was absolutely outstanding. Just a class act. They're racers too. I mean, they sell engine oil, and anybody that knows racing or knows anything about vehicles obviously has heard of Castrol engine oil and gear oil and everything that they supply for everybody. And for me to be the representative and the guy that has been able to carry the banner for them has meant the world to me. It's more than just racing. It's a belief. It's a belief in their products, and it's a lifelong commitment that I will always support them and promote their business, whether they're on my car or not. So, like you say, 30 years is almost unheard of in this business anymore, and obviously, I'm very fortunate and very lucky and very proud to have them with me.
I've only got one parting comment for you, DJ, and it's actually a comment on the stream from J.R. Fitzpatrick, who pointed out you're not the Castrol kid anymore, you're more the Castrol old guy. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to reply to JR, because if we're going to build any rivalry here, I want the smack talk to be on the air.
Oh, it's just JR. I mean, his family, right? I married his cousin, so it's hard for him to be mad at me anymore. I mean, even when we race, I mean, we're family, and I've already been kicked off the property once. I think it was for wrecking Don Thompson, so I wasn't allowed to go to the farm to see my girlfriend at the time. And JR and I go way back. Talk about another talented guy, great race car driver, not near as good as I am, but he tries awful hard, so we'll give him credit for that. But I'm hoping to get the late model out too. Just so you know, Fitzy, it's sitting here ready to go. I only race it once a year, and usually when I do, it's just as fast as you. So we'll see you at Delaware and hopefully have some fun as usual.
We need more of this, DJ. This is the DJ Kennington I need every weekend. I mean, I will bring you a microphone every week if you'll give us this kind of gold.
I'll only do it to JR because I know he can handle it.
Well, he started 2 weeks ago. Got Jake Sheridan. Now we had to have Jake Sheridan for the rebuttal. We were hoping you're going to throw somebody new into the mix so we'd have someone else to cut a promo on next week. Before we go, DJ, 2 quick questions. Joel mentioned, first off, someone asked how old the kids are because they're following the story now. How old's Chase and Sydney?
Chase is 10 and Sydney is 7. So, man, oh man, it seems like yesterday they were born, but they're before we know it, heck, they'll be driving cars on the road, which is scary.
Quickly tell us the story.
Than you think.
Joel just mentioned that Marty gave you your cup car. Quickly explain us that before we let you go.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't know if I can even maybe. Look at that. There she is up there. Wow. Sitting on. There's a nice shot of Castrol Edge there, but there it is sitting up on the hoist. Really cool deal. Marty just called me. Obviously, everybody knows that the cup car changed to a new style car and the next gen car and so on. So those cars kind of became a little bit obsolete, and Marty still had the car that I ran at the very first 500 in 2017. And him and his wife and his son Parker, they called me one night on FaceTime, and there it was sitting behind them, totally rewrapped, identical to the way we raced it. And he said that he thought that the best home for it would be in St. Thomas. So he gave me the car. He gifted it to me. There's engine in it. Basically, I could take the thing and then make it a track day car if I wasn't so scared to scratch it. But yeah, really cool deal. One of the coolest trophies I actually will ever have. And Marty Gaunt's a great friend of mine. I will always be indebted to him for everything that we did together there and for him making dreams come true. And Marty's little catchphrase is everybody needs a little GBR. So everybody needs a little Gaunt Brothers racing. So great guy, super supporter, and obviously Castrol for making that happen for us. And all of our sponsors on board this year, Spark Power, CIM Metals, Brimstone Games. So many cool people have come on board this year. Everybody's excited about the series, and I'm excited to get out there and get at it and hopefully try to get these guys a few wins.
Just over 2 weeks away, DJ. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for taking so much time out of your schedule. I know you got a lot of race cars to build, but I know that our viewers appreciate you as well.
No, my pleasure, guys, as usual. And hopefully the show is as big as it was last year, Clinton, but don't stress so much, man. We still need you around.
We're going to be good, man. We're going to enjoy this season. That was my promise to all the boys. Thank you for coming on, DJ. Good luck.
All right, boys. Have a great night.
Cheers.
Wow, it's hard to cram 30 years into 30 minutes at him. But, the one thing I was thinking is if he's got that cup car and, Jared Fitzpatrick's building his old original late model to go race CTMP mixed races, I think the cup car could probably fit in there somewhere, and I'm going to have to break out the cameras. Our next guest is waiting, so bring him on as soon as we're ready. But great stuff with DJ. What a great attitude. Looking good. Adam, you see these guys, it's pretty rare that guys look better as they get older, and DJ's one of those dudes who's looking better as time goes on and healthier.
Our next guest looks the same as he has for 30 years.
Yeah, before we came on, you were saying I'm starting to look more like Vanilla Ice, which I don't think was very fair, but let's bring Steve on when we're ready, Spencer. Steve Lyons from Creative Edge, the Mad Rapper. How's it going, Steve? Speaking of rappers, Steve raps more cars and trucks and race cars in Ontario probably anybody this month. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we've been busy.
Steve, you've been doing this for so long and at such a high level. How have you not run out of creative ideas? I mean, they just continually flow, but your work is phenomenal. It always has been, but how do you keep coming up with new thoughts and designs?
I don't know. It does come out of you, it comes to me. We also have, I have a good group of employees back at the shop too. For the commercial stuff, they do most of the designing with commercial stuff. I do most of the designing with the motorsports side of things. And I don't know, you just look see what's out there. You try to get inspiration. Been doing it for a long time, so keep trying to come up with things. I mean, obviously I have my style. People are going to know what I do out there. You can't change that. But I guess you just try to come up with what you can.
Steve, let's talk about, where you've been. So you have also a crazy history in Ontario motorsports too. I've only started dealing with you when I started managing Oswego Speedway, in which point you come over to the dirt from the hobby car class, stand out in go-karts back in the day, out through the hobby cars, tough pavement racer. I remember you were doing our suits back in the day too, right, Adam? We got our suits designed by Steve for the Oval1.com way back in the day. But Steve, you were racing dirt sprint cars, came over, had a few good years there, but now you've turned the role over to Liam Martin, and now you've teamed up with Dan Annecoke, and this, the Nitro 54 Creative Edge team has really turned into a powerhouse at Oswego. That's why we brought you on today, to talk about what it's been like transitioning as an owner now. We'll talk about your karting success here in a minute, because I know you're still doing that and won a big race down the States last weekend, but let's just talk about that, man. How's it been transitioning from, being in the seat to watching your car go around?
Yeah, I mean, that very first, it was, I was a little antsy having to watch and not drive, wishing I was in it. But I got used to it really quickly. It's pretty exciting to see, our guys go out there and race well. It's a lot easier for me. I can have a relaxing night at the track. And turned it quickly. I learned to enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. We're fortunate to have a couple of really good drivers, and it's been really exciting, really fun, and looking forward to more.
Steve, what kind of a car owner are you? Because I know as a racer, your preparation is meticulous, but so is your racing. You're as fierce a competitor as I ever watched in go-karts, in hobby cars, and even transitioning onto the dirt. You found some, like I said, you're just a calculated, aggressive charging driver. How was that translated to the car owner side? Do you offer much input?
I'm careful to what I would offer for input to, let's say we'll talk about Liam. He's kind of, the guy I've been around with the most, the driver. I let him do his thing. If he asks for some advice, I give him some advice, kind of like more mentoring than, I'm not going to tell him how to drive the car, where to put it, any of that. He has that all figured out, and he's great at it.
That's,
you kind of do their thing. You try to guide them along to not make mistakes. But we have to let them do their thing, and Liam does his own thing and does really well at it. I support him where I can, and when he has questions, and try to guide him along a little bit. But you have to let the you know, you have to let your people in place do their thing, and he happens to be really good at it.
You know, we had two Canadian national winners in your team last year. You know, Ryan Turner picked up 2 wins in that deal. The second was with you guys, but some great runs for him. You know, what are your feelings coming in with the team? You know, Liam's been a hot shoot, but to pick up Ryan after leaving the Burger Barn, that was a pretty good get for you guys.
Yeah, that was huge. We're really fortunate to get Ryan. You know, he's an amazing driver. And he's done such a good job right away, just jumping into our equipment. Basically, what Dan was racing, he just hopped into that and didn't miss a beat. Ryan's amazing like that. You know, our drivers are 2 kind of totally different driving styles, which is very interesting. You know, they both get results, but they're 2 totally guys. So it's really exciting. And, you know, we haven't raced a lot yet with Ryan, and even only 1 full season with Liam. So far, so good. We're excited to see what happens.
Now, in all fairness to Spencer, Adam, there, he just showed Corey Turner, because I just sent him a bunch of pictures of your work. So that wasn't Ryan, that was actually Corey, and then we went right into it. So let's show a bit of the work here. I just sent him, you know, there's Corey Turner's car. You just recently wrapped for Nathan Ackland's team, and I sent him over the Aaron Turkey car too. We were at the schools today, and the car looked great. The kids were loving it, and it was great to take it out before it actually got any dirt on it today or on the weekend. So that was cool. But, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just wanted to fill you in. There's Aaron Turkey's car looking gorgeous. And, of course, Steve handles all the GSR stuff as well. Big day tomorrow. It's Glenn's 59th birthday. So Steve's been busy making everything look good. You'll probably see some posts from the Facebook world tomorrow as the whole team celebrates Glenn's birthday and kind of does a bit of a launch on some of the stuff up there at the race shop tomorrow, I'm told. So we're going to be up there for breakfast. And but Steve, racing in the States, Adam, you know, I'll turn it over to you. Steve's been racing the States. Let's talk about that, Steve. You're picking up some wins. Tell us about where you've been going, how that's been going, who you've been racing with, since Spencer's got a couple of photos of that.
Yeah, I haven't raced a lot in the States. Just getting, like, if you're regarding the karting, obviously. You know, I'm just doing a limited schedule. Just got back from racing in the States, though, 2 weekends ago. That went well. Had a fun time. With the WKA, which is a long-standing series down there forever. We had a good weekend and won that race. Wasn't super heavily attended, unfortunately, bad weather, whatnot, but we still had a good time. We pulled out a win. Just having fun with that. It's something I can do, racing those. I can just go out once a month and still be extremely competitive, and I don't need any help. I don't need any crew. So that part's fun. At this point in my career, it's something I can just kind of do on my own and go out there and still be totally competitive and winning. So that's fun. And we'll race in the Cup Kart Series here in Canada, which is a Briggs and Stratton 4-stroke only series, which is a large series. And I'll also be doing 2 of those races in the US this year too. So yeah, I got about 5 more races to go.
Steve, is there a race you look back on in your long career that is the most rewarding for you? I don't care if it was a car or a go-kart, oval, road course, you've done it all. What kind of moments do you look back on and think, man, that was so much fun, so fulfilling?
Oh, there's been a lot. It's hard for me to right now think of ones that stand out. I mean, your last win is always fun and memorable. Yeah, I mean, there's been many. I do remember my first vintage modified third night in the car. That one, I guess, kind of sticks out in my mind still. Back when I was younger, we had a lot of good runs with the vintage mod and against Ray Hughes and being competitive with those guys. Had a good time in that Super Late model, ran a couple times. Led a bunch of the feature at Kawartha in my first and only time, and I think ended up third. I don't know. It's been some good times. I remember Brighton, my one and only 360 feature win. That was definitely a fun night, and it's definitely hard to do because just did it one time, and it was a good time, but it's hard to repeat. But I don't know. I mean, raced a lot. It's in my blood. Those are some of the ones that stick out in my head right at the moment.
Right on, Steve. You know, it's funny to see these guys in the chat. So Jared Fitzpatrick says, thanks, Oscar Modified Team Owner winner for last year. And Andy Camrat says, you're welcome for the win. So we got 2 of the top modified guys Jocelyn here in the chat, which is cool. Steve, thanks for stopping by, man. We know you're busy. For you guys, it's a crazy time of year, and we appreciate you taking some time out for us tonight.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Right on, but we'll be in touch. Adam, we got Case going to join us here shortly. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, we'll get Case on. You and I have seen a few things in racing over the course of 40 years. When I think back of watching Steve Lyons race in go-karts in a senior division when I was a junior, Steve Lyons, Colin Turnbull, Shane Yancey, Jake Collison would eventually get up there up to speed with them. That group of racers is still in my mind the best group of racers I ever watched. Right, and that was before Brad Graham was old enough to race with them. It's funny, you build these people up in your mind as being so damn good, and even though we've seen all sorts of things, we've seen the best of the best on pavement, on dirt, all over the place. When I think in my mind of the best times, the best group of freaking amazing racers, it goes back to the late 1980s and go-karts.
You know, I was talking to some of the NASCAR executives recently at one of our meetings, and we were talking about how saturated this area is. You know, there's so much racing here. You know, that's why we have all our big events at Ush Weekend on a Monday, Tuesday, because we would cut out so many tracks if we had it on a Saturday of racing people who just simply couldn't come. It's crazy to think that there's so many good pockets. And wherever you grew up, to a lot of people, that's the best era, the best group. And they would probably fare pretty well in a fair fight against most of everybody else's fair group, you know, if it was possible. If we could only have a UFC of racing, because that's what UFC was, your karate guy against my boxer guy, and who's going to beat whose ass. But we still have a lot of stuff to get through. Let's jump in a couple minutes with Case here, because he's on the blower ready to go. Then we'll get into our Burger Barn video of the week and a couple other quick topics to jump around the horn. Case Kallenbach, welcome to the program.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Man, I'm doing better now that I've heard your voice, Case. It's been a long time since I've heard the sweet tones of Case Kallenbach. Congratulations,
I wish my wife would say
that. Well, she has to live with you. It's different. So, Clint, I started to explain to you who Case is. I met Case a little over 10 years ago with Race 101, and Case, you really didn't have, if you'll excuse the expression, a pot to piss in back at the time. I mean, you were a young man who just wanted to go racing. The reason I wanted to bring you on the show this week, Case, you just earned a top 5 finish last weekend at Talladega in the NASCAR Xfinity Series as crew chief on the number 6 machine. How freaking rewarding was it to watch that car roll down pit road after the race, still in one piece, and having such a great result?
I mean, probably the biggest relief is to be able to load it on all 4 tires, because I've been there running piss ass last essentially and still get the car crashed and have to figure out how to load it and all that stuff. But just to finally get a good finish that really the guys and Brennan more than me deserve. And I hate using that word sometimes, but either way, like, we work our butts off and finally go out and race against $1 million budgets and get a top 5 at a place where we know we can with that kind of car. I mean, it was just probably one of the best feelings I've had in racing.
You know, maybe tell us a bit about your team, Case, how it comes together, how it's being funded, and you know, what's behind the whole situation.
So, I mean, it's like any other race team. I mean, obviously we're underfunded compared to a lot. So we're driven by the dollar, right? So if there's no funding, like if we go to a track red, like no sponsors or whatever, that means there's not a lot of funding on the car. So it's sometimes you got to run scuffed tires. Sometimes you hope people crash and you get tires from them. But I mean, either way, we still try to do the best we can to get the cars out, make sure nothing falls off, make sure everything is, you know, up to my standard per se, just like I'm on a Hendrick Motorsports or a team like that, because we want to do the best we can with what little money we may or may not have that weekend.
Case, I wanted to invite you on as really a success story, because I want you to if you could talk to yourself from 15 years ago, would you give yourself a pep talk? or would you say go buy a set of golf clubs or go get yourself a real job because this isn't worth it? I have a feeling I know the answer to this, but I want you to give your answer so people who are watching who want a career in racing can put their thought into it and see how you've done.
One of my mottos that's I've always had, or I try to keep with me, is just keep digging. So no matter what, where life's got you, just keep trying. I mean, like you said, I really come from nothing, no racing background except for what little street stock money I could throw together when I was in high school. So, I mean, just keep going. I would tell myself probably to do the exact same thing and work for the same teams I have, because I feel like my path of working on such smaller teams and then working my way up has helped me grow to where I'm more valuable as a person to another team, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. You know, what is the long-term goal, Case? Obviously, you're with this team. You know, the short-term goal is find some funding for the team you're with. But where would you like to end up?
I mean, the goal is always to do the best you can, and right now the best you can in what form of motorsports I want to do is Cup Series. So I would like to eventually become a Cup crew chief, or at least a part of a Cup team that wins races. Maybe down the road when I'm older, if I get established and the right situation pops up, maybe own a team. I'm not saying that's the goal I'm working towards, but it's always on the back burner, you know, because then I want to be able to train and help people like me when I was 20, 19, whatever, trying to start and do this, and help them grow their careers. So it's more rewarding to me to see guys I've trained go to other team and win races too. Even though I haven't won a bunch of races or whatever, I still like to see them succeed.
Hey, you're employed in the sport that you love, Case. So, I mean, wins are one way you can measure success, but you've got a great family down there. Hey, by the way, did you win your ball game tonight?
Yeah, they won 10-9. We were the away team, so it was stressful. Almost gave up the tying run, but they locked it down.
Nice. All these years later, do you remember what it was I always tried to get you to say for me because it would cheer me up?
Yes, I do.
Okay, would you do it for me one more time?
Does that thing got a Hemi?
Oh, God. You didn't make him say that, did you?
He used to be, Case used to be real excitable, right? Like he's really mellowed out. So you got to picture that on a couple more energy drinks. Clint, it would make me happy every time. Case is one of the good guys. I'm just telling you, he's one of the guys you want to cheer for. Case, thank you so much for making the time to come and chat with us. As much as anything, I wanted to come and look you in the face and say, congratulations, buddy. I'm really proud of you. I wish you more success, and good things happen to good people.
I appreciate it. Real quick, I got a phone call from Daniel Alvarez, and he had said if we had won, he didn't care what was going on. He was going to be at the shop on Monday. So it's great to hear from you and all the other friends from Race 101, and I appreciate the time coming on, and I'll join anytime you guys want me.
Right on, man. And Joel, our friend Joel asked, where are you from? Where did you come from, Case, and where are you living now?
I grew up in Powdersville, South Carolina, about 5 minutes from Greenville Pickens Speedway and 15 minutes from Anderson Speedway. And currently, right now, I live in Old Fort, North Carolina. It's a little, almost a mountain foothill town just west or just east of Asheville.
Nice. Nice. Thanks for being with us, Case. I'll keep up with you on Facebook, and you keep digging, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Right on. Wow, we have a packed show. It always seems like about 6:30 I'm calling you in a panic, going, man, we're in trouble. We're sinking here. And here we are with a basket still full with 9 minutes to go, which is awesome. Let's go ahead. Finish that up.
He used to remind me of John Reap, right? That thing got a Hemi? Like, oh, my God. Priceless.
That'd be like someone saying you're Canadian. Can you say, hey, you like some hockey? Bye? Like,
listen, it made me happy then. It makes me happy now. He's a good kid. He's not a kid anymore, but we were so fortunate to meet some great young people, Clinton, that we still keep in touch. And Brandon Watson, came through the program. I don't know that we gave him much of any help because he had all the skills that he needed. Everything we focused on was more off the racetrack and in the garage area, that sort of thing. But man, some quality young people we got to meet and watch their careers.
Right on. Burger Barn videos of the week. We got a few of them. I think there's a couple of videos we got to get through, don't we, Spencer? Let's jump into the first one. Let's see, what do we got here? This is the Ryan Preece in-car crash from Talladega. If you didn't see this one, Adam, you want to know if athletes are race car drivers, you watch this one. Okay, so it looks like a normal Talladega crash.
If he throttled up or didn't throttle up, that contact was going to happen
so,
anyway.
watch the in-car here. For a second there, Ryan Preece is wondering where he's at, just knocked the heck right out of you.
I have to wonder, at a moment like that, I mean, you've got to be taken into account, am I still whole? Is everything still here? And then you got to be wondering, did I just kill somebody? These are things that have to enter your mind, right?
Spencer, show the door bars. Keep going, Adam. Sorry.
I've never had that conversation really with a driver. I've heard there's been interviews with Alex Tagliani. Tag's been involved in some really nasty crashes that I would like to watch and see what he has to say about some of the experiences that he's lived through.
We talked about it here. If you've got a few minutes, go to Gary Klut's podcast, look up the one with Tagliani, and the stories he tells about racing over 200 in the Indy cars are just astounding. He was a part of the Alex Zanardi crash. Just some unbelievable stories there. It's an amazing hour of listening if you're a race fan. Let's just look at Kyle Larson's car. So a lot was made to do about this, Adam, on the internet, of course, about the door bar where it is coming apart. But I'm sorry. At those speeds, at that kind of impact, what do people expect? I expect something to break on that car, And last year they took a lot of shit because everything was too rigid.
Right. You want it to bend for... Listen, that car did exactly what it's supposed to do. Another car hit it at its weakest point going 200 miles an hour. And that car held up. So is it concerning to me that there was some breakage? Yeah, it's a little concerning, but that could be a spot that they have designed to break. That thing can bend as far as it wants. Bending is what it's designed to do, but those engineers are a hell of a lot smarter than I am. Perhaps they were designed to break at certain points as well. The fact that both of those drivers climbed out of those race cars is testament to how well they are designed.
Yeah, and of course the left side is constructed a lot differently than that right side. The right side just got a couple light bars. The left side's like a tank. So it certainly would look that if it hit the driver's door. But man, think how much velocity that took out. If that was a solid piece and that didn't bend, I think you're looking at a whole bunch more problems for both of the drivers. But I was shocked by everybody who was so enraged by that bar being bent up like that. I'm like, it was perfect. And what do you expect at 200 miles an hour with a perfect G hit like that? They couldn't have hit any worse unless it was head on,
People need something to be enraged about.
Yeah. Let's jump on to a couple other things off our list. Spencer, let's go back to the rundown here. So first off, when racing was the Wild West, these are some cool pictures we just collected. Look at this Smokey Unic offset sidecar thing they were running. Look how fragile it is. How'd you like to go 200 at Indy with that? Sitting between the left side front and rear tires with the engine screaming in your right ear.
With zero protection. But let me tell you, Clinton, my dad when I worked for Leaf Racewear in the early 2000s, Dad traveled with me to Speed Week a couple of times. We did the trade show down there, and he helped out. I've never seen him more excited than he was when he got to meet Smokey Unic.
Yeah.
He was like a little kid. Like he had met one of his heroes.
That's awesome. Everybody's picking on me today. First it was John
I like-
Vanilla Ice, and now I'm getting accused of John Stamos. You know what? Steve Lyons was just on the show. He called me on the blue one day and says, "You look like the brother Jamie from." Oh, now you got the picture. I'll
From
be John
Yellowstone?
Stamos. Yeah, he said you look like.
Yeah, we've
the-
had the
brother."
conversation.
Anyways, let's show the second video, Spencer, that we kind of ran into. Why you should stay back from the fence. Every year, guys like me and Fran are on the microphone reminding you kids to get back from the fence. And if you're a parent, listen up, because your kid might be standing right here.
White and King on the chase. Tyler Harris big into the wall.
Man.
Pretty wild, though. You know, you're not paying attention, just looking away, and whammo, right beside you. It is pretty wild at sometimes. So, you know, just a reminder, make sure everybody stays away from the fence as we get into the season.
As much as that, Clinton, always have your eye on the action. I get more burned up by watching people not looking. You've always got to be looking at where stuff's coming from.
For sure. Let's talk about a couple other things. Bridgeport scrapes it all off. And this came out today. Bridgeport resurfaced their dirt track. And it's I like this because this is a track realizing they have not got the right answer. So they're going to make a change. And I think it's I don't know, how can I put it? Mature? Responsible? To admit you're wrong and right the rights. So they said after a handful
You
of
have to
weeks
swallow
working
your
with the
pride.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. After a handful of weeks of working with the new surface, we've made the decision to remove the clay from the track. Our racers and our fans are our top priority, and we feel it's best to get back to the Bridgeport of the last 3 seasons. They built the track 3 years ago, and basically they're going to scrape off all of the top layer they just put on, and that's effectively what we've done in Oshweekend. You can take it away now, Spence. That's effectively what we've done in Oshweekend, right? We didn't have that problem as bad, but going back to the old surface is the plan. So they're going to take some time this week, scrape it off, and hopefully that works out for them. Fonda moves it up. Go ahead, Adam.
What crossed my mind is, why did they change it? 3 years ago, they put down a surface. They had the best surface in racing. What the hell would you change it for?
No comment. At Oshweekend, every Nationals we have is like the best race I can ever remember going into the winter. And every year, Bossman wants to do something. I'm like, well, why can't we just leave it? It's perfect. We have the best races anybody's ever seen. But it's his backyard. If he figures he can make it better, I mean, it has been pretty damn good. Fonda moves it up, Adam. In today's day and age, what are your thoughts on moving a show up? Fonda looked at the weather, realized they're going to be a problem later in the night, so the day before they said we're going to move it up from 7 to 5 p.m. Is it acceptable in today's day and age?
Yep.
I agree. Respectful and responsible.
Especially since Brett Day was a big picture promoter. He has a good deal going with Flow Racing as well. So there's a lot of other obligations that'll put more eyeballs on his product. Nobody's going to be watching if it's raining. At least if you move it up 2 hours, there's a chance people can see it.
Well, speaking of that, quickly, I was at T-Max Bar and Grill on the weekend having a couple cold ones. Watching, I think it was Utica Rome, and it was under rain delay. And we watched them pack that track. And I'm thinking, there's got to be a chance if they're going in. Right at 11 o'clock, boom, they called it. And I'm like, they had a broadcast requirement to get to there to get paid. So they had the trucks rolling around for a good 35 minutes, giving it their all, so to speak. But I'll know better next time. Let's jump into our one last piece of media that our good buddy Joel sent us. Brandon McFarlane from Newfoundland has joined into the ranks of the NASCAR Painting Series. The first event's coming up May 13th at Sunset Speedway. And let's take a look at what's going on there. We got an interview from our buddy Joel at Fuel Media today. Let's take a look at Brandon McFarlane.
Brandon, we're here at Sunset Speedway. You got a couple laps in. What made you come out here today?
I was on a trip here, so we wanted to run some laps, and we got this car here from Jason, so just wanted to get a little shakedown and see how the car handles, make sure there's no oil leaks, no issues. So we had a decent little test for what we had for the weather and the conditions, so I'm happy with it so far.
So a couple laps in with the EHR guys. What are your plans for this year? I know you've bought the car from them. You're using your own guys, and how many races do you think you're going to do?
As of right now, we're going to run 4 for sure. We're still working on an West Coast swing. Right now, we're just going to stick with oval, work on the oval program. Hopefully, build a decent oval program. Then we'll look into doing some road courses and things like that as the years move on. But as of right now, I think we're just going to run some ovals.
And is Josh going to run the other car you had?
Yeah, Josh is going to run the other car, so I believe he's either going to be the 45 or the 56. So as of right now, he's going to run the same ovals that we're going to run. We're working together as a team, but as this year, it's going to be ovals.
What'd you learn? It's your first time here at Sunset. What'd you learn?
It's a super tight track, and like we were talking about earlier, you miss the groove or you come down a little bit on entry, you know, the car gets super tight. So just figuring the track out, I really like it. It's going to be fun come race day.
You excited about going back home and running another 300 laps at Eastbound?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this year now, especially with this EHR car, we should have a really good car for the race and hopefully make the fans home proud and represent Newfoundland well when we get back to the East Coast.
Adam, it's great to see new blood coming into the series, and especially from as far away. When we've been down south and way far out east today, had some colorful folk song.
Got excited about.
Oh, there we go. We got you now.
I've always been excited about representation from all over the country. It was always exciting when the Seabirds raced with us, Jason White raced with us, Donald Chisholm from Nova Scotia. So to have some folks from Newfoundland running with us, it's going to be fun interviews. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, excited about that. That's the NASCAR Pinty Series opener Saturday, May 13th at Sunset Speedway. And then our opener for the APC Series will be the following Saturday back at Sunset, live on GeForce TV. And then, of course, the Ashweekend opener is scheduled for that weekend as well, May 19th. So much great stuff going on, Adam. It's been another crazy show.
Yeah, it's been a fun week. We had some great guests tonight, some good conversations. And you know, Clint, the off season is such a long ordeal. I feel like finally, I enjoy hanging out with you for 1 hour every week, but it's so much nicer when we've got stuff to talk about. We get to come back and react to things that happened on the weekend and not talk about what ifs and what's gonna. And let's just talk about what was.
Current events are back, and we're loving it. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Thank you, Spencer, for all you do. We'll see you next Tuesday as we'll be around. I don't think we're going to be live next Tuesday. We're going to have another special going on. As Spencer is working some James Bond third job or something. He's just not telling us what he's doing, but he comes back when he needs to. So at least he'll be ready for the season. That's my attitude to all this preseason rain. Let it rain now. Rain out every practice you want, Mother Nature. Go ahead, have your way. But come May 13th, you better just park that little rain bucket ears till October. That's all I got. See you later.
See you next time.